This is question 3 of the P1.4 end of topic test. On screen now is the mark schemes for part A and part B of question 3. Part C is on another slide, so you'll have to move on to that to mark your work. I suggest you pause the recording to mark part A and part B, and then restart the recording so you can mark part C. On screen now is part C. It's a question 3, so please mark this part of the question. Once you've finished marking your work, if you get it all correct, I suggest you move on. If you got parts that are incorrect, please listen to the rest of the recording to find out how to do the question correctly in the future. You may wish to pause the recording now so you can mark part C. In the first part of this question, you're expected to outline the arguments that the scientists working in the nuclear power industry could use to justify the building of more nuclear power stations in the future. It's worth 3 marks. So to get those 3 marks, you need to suggest any 3 advantages of nuclear fuel. I'm just going to put the mark scheme here so you can see the mark scheme in front of you rather than writing it out because it's a bit neater. And you can see that you can have any of these ones here, so just talk you through these. So the idea that you produce a lot of energy for a small mass. Okay, so you get quite a lot of energy, but you actually require very little fuel to produce large amounts of energy. The main reason nuclear is a good fuel source is that it's reliable and it can generate energy all the time. That's the main reason that someone would want to use it. The advantage that nuclear fuel has over its competitors that are also reliable, such as fossil fuels, is that it produces no pollutant gases. In particular, it doesn't produce carbon dioxide. So if you're asked to name a greenhouse gas and you're writing around carbon dioxide, that will get you the mark for produce carbon dioxide. And that's the reason why nuclear fuels are often considered to be better than fossil fuels. The other sort of areas that you've got is they only produce a small volume of solid waste. So there's no major waste to get rid of once you've used your fossil fuel power station. And finally, the last one that's on the mark scheme is that advancing technology will make fuel reserves last much longer. So there's a large amount of supply which can easily meet the demand for nuclear fuels. In part B, you're asked to sort of explain that nuclear waste is a problem that it must be dealt with, and one possible solution will be to bury the waste deep underground. Suggest one reason why some people are against burying nuclear waste. Obviously, nuclear waste is radioactive, so it's dangerous, and obviously if someone came along to dig that sort of the waste stuff, then it could obviously cause some harm in the future. The other thing you've got to remember is that nuclear waste is radioactive for thousands of years, so that when you bury it, there's a chance that you will die before it stops being radioactive, which means that you need to record that quite correctly. Again, putting up the mark scheme for this question, these are some of the reasons what you could be using. It's a mark for any of these that's a bullet point. So the idea is that it may leak into the ground or the environment. There could be a geological change, such as an earthquake, or a flood in that area that could bring the radioactive source to the surface. There's a chance that it could get into the food chain, which would be obviously dangerous for humans. And the one that I sort of said at the bottom there is over time. If location not correctly recorded, it may be excavated, which basically means dug up. So the final part of the question, part C, it says electricity can be also generated using renewable resources, and it gives you some information from a newspaper report. This is one of those classic cases where most of the answers are written inside the newspaper report. So I'll read that through with you to make sure you've read it through carefully. So it says the energy from burning biofuels such as wood chip and straw can be used to generate electricity. Plants for biofuels use up carbon dioxide as they grow. Farmers get grants to grow plants for biofuels. Electricity generated from biofuels can be sold at a higher price than electricity generated from burning fossil fuels. And growing plants for biofuels offers new opportunities for rural communities. So to run through these different points and take out what we can get the marks for. So the first one, this offers the chance to grow new crops. Which would be a mark. This one here, which I'm going to circle in blue, is basically saying that no net carbon dioxide or CO2 is added to the environment. The other idea that you get is that farmers get grants to grow plants, so it produces jobs. You can sell it at a higher price there. Burning fossil fuels that get you an extra mark as well, so that's your 3 that we just pulled straight out of there. Again, growing plants of biofuels offers new opportunities for rural communities. That's the idea of more jobs and more land cultivation, so they can use more of the land. So any of those will get you the mark. Okay, and you can get 3 from any of those 4.